Hi everyone, welcome to a new episode and a new season of the Synergy Flavors Trendcast. I'm Alex Masumoto. I'm a marketing associate at Synergy Flavors in the US. And with this episode, we're kicking off the second season of the Trendcast. And I'm very excited with the topics that we're planning and preparing to bring in the Trendcast for you throughout 2021. And to get started, I don't think there is a better topic for us to start this new season than to bring a very trending topic to the discussion, which is non-dairy alternatives. And joining me, I have Lindsay Ostima, who is our business development manager, Erin Inventor, consumer and marketing insights manager, and Lorraine Kelly, our category manager. So this episode is actually a follow-up from an episode that we did in 2020 during the first season of the Trendcast, where we started to discuss the plant-based market and consumer motives for purchasing plant-based and non-dairy alternatives. But in today's episode, we're going to dive deep in that consumer piece and really showing the results of that consumer study that we did in 2020. So, Erin, could you walk us through the research methodology, and that consumer study findings?
Absolutely, Alex. So today we want to talk a little bit about non-dairy alternatives, as Alex mentioned. And we did some consumer work to really gain a deeper understanding of non-dairy consumers. So in order to gain this understanding, we talked to 500 non-dairy consumers in the US and the UK. And we talked to them about what they're using, why they're using it, and really what they felt like was missing from the products that are currently on the market. All of this information really helped us gain that deep understanding of what consumers are looking for in the non-dairy alternative space. So first we wanted to understand who is eating non-dairy products. Are non-dairy products more likely to be vegetarians or vegans? And what we found is that that's not the case. We found that vegetarians and vegans are definitely consuming non-dairy products, but the majority of consumers are mainstream or intrigued consumers. Non-dairy products are really not just for vegetarians or vegans anymore. Next, we wanted to understand why consumers are consuming non-dairy products. We found the main reasons to be around health and nutrition. Consumers really have this health halo around this category, and they think that as they're trying to take better care of themselves, this is a category that can really help them do that. And they also wanted variety in their diet as well. So wanted to be able to try new products and curious about what these different types of products tasted like. And looking at the reasons of why consumers are purchasing non-dairy alternatives, we did see a difference when we looked at vegetarians and vegans. We saw that vegetarians and vegans are actually more likely than the mainstream consumer to be consuming these non-dairy products because they are better for the environment. And we found this to be true both in the US and the UK. Next, I'm going to turn it over to Lindsay, who's going to talk a little bit more about what consumers are looking for in non-dairy products.
Great, thanks, Erin. So as she just explained, we wanted to understand a little bit about who these consumers were, but the next step was really going to be understanding their desires for the non-dairy products that they were purchasing. So their responses really fell into three different categories: overall improvement of taste, improving overall flavor, and more flavor variety. So the first challenge that manufacturers of these products will face is to improve taste. And so taste, as you are likely familiar, is comprised of those 5 sensitivities: sweet, sour, salt, bitter, and umami. So non-dairy products are relatively new to the marketplace, and since they're mostly being created to replicate dairy-based products, there is a steep learning curve in developing them. So these products are undergoing almost constant renovation and relaunch as new ingredients, processes, and technologies are emerging that will allow the taste to meet the same sweetness of a vanilla ice cream or the same salty, sour bite of a feta cheese, but from a plant source. Secondarily, improving overall flavor was the number 2 answer. And really, improving overall flavor is more holistic than just the flavor that's listed on the package. It comprises of actually the smell, the taste, and the texture of the food or beverage. So in an example, if you were to taste a plant-based frozen dessert, but it lacks the aroma, the body, or even the indulgence that's expected in a dessert or in an ice cream, it probably won't be purchased again. So it's really up to manufacturers to find the right tools and utilize them in not only masking off notes that can come from plant bases, but also increase the mouthfeel and rebuild that indulgence where a lack of dairy may have left them flat. And overall, utilizing those tools appropriately is paramount in improving their overall flavor for the consumer preference. And the last one, more flavor variety, it's pretty self-explanatory, but keep in mind as non-dairy products started to hit the market, the flavor options were very limited, either only hitting the mainstream flavors like vanilla or strawberry, or only launching flavors that were inherently complementary to the non-dairy bases themselves. So as an example, if a peanut butter and jelly sandwich flavored oat ice cream were to hit the market, whereas the reason being that fruit flavors and even the hints of those grainy bread notes complement the oaty cereal notes that are already in that oat base itself. But as consumers are getting more ingrained in this space, and they're going to want to see more indulgent and experiential flavors that will ultimately lead to that same enjoyment moment and therefore repeat purchasing. So what you'll see here is that the consumer's highest request for non-dairy products was for them actually to taste more like traditional dairy products. This was a critical data point from Synergy's research that helped guide our development of vegan solutions, because we wanted to be able to ensure we could deliver the taste, flavor, and variety that consumers were looking for. So for example, whether we're looking to add, authentic buttery notes in a caramel sauce to top your vegan latte, or cultured and creamy notes to a vegan cheesecake, or simply neutralizing a plant base to allow for a unique profile or even a super decadent chocolatey fudge flavor to come through in a frozen dessert. So there are a lot of different opportunities for manufacturers for innovation, and no better person to talk through them than you, Lorraine.
Thanks, Lindsay. So where are the opportunities for innovation in this space? Consumers are telling us that their biggest barriers in making the switch to plant-based alternatives are threefold: taste, nutrition, and naturality. And this, we think, is where the opportunity lies for innovation. Taste is definitely the overarching challenge that needs to be addressed to grow plant-based consumption. And offering both flavor variety and improved taste are areas where developers can seek to appeal to consumers. And for consumers, we know that for many of them, traditional dairy is actually the benchmark. In terms of nutrition needs, we have seen that consumers want low and no sugar, and they also want to maintain the calcium and protein content that they would have received from traditional dairy products. And then depending on the plant-based ingredients used, a level of fortification is typically required. And finally, consumers are also looking for products with simpler, shorter labeling using natural ingredients and natural flavors. So how can we in Synergy help meet your needs and to deliver great tasting products? So for us, we believe the key to creating plant-based alternatives that are as good as the traditional counterparts, it typically takes a 5-step approach. The first is all about understanding the protein matrix. Protein research is an area for us in Synergy, which we've been heavily involved with for many years, working closely with the nutrition industry. And we use analytical and sensory techniques to understand the aroma compounds present in a protein. These aroma compounds are responsible for the flavor profile of your protein. So your pea, your oat, your soy, all have a distinct fingerprint almost in terms of aroma compound. And by targeting these aroma compounds, it also helps us identify undesirable notes and helps us develop masking solutions to smooth and harmonize your base. The next step that we look at is focusing on improving mouthfeel and creaminess. And you can use natural flavor systems layered with texture to deliver a smoother, more palatable taste. And each of these are ticking off some of the key criteria and challenges that consumers are talking to us about. The third step that we do is looking at introducing an authentic dairy forward notes. So creams, butter, milk, cheese, all to complement and enhance the existing base. A fourth step then that we can build in is the idea of flavor pairing, which is all about tailoring flavors for your specific base and using flavors that complement the inherent notes of your protein base. So for example, a coffee caramel flavor can work really, really well with pea protein and the inherent notes that are in it. And then the fifth step, which is really, so important as always, is sensory validation, because we want to make sure that the products we're creating help deliver I suppose, the desired consumer appeal for your customers. And whilst these are a 5-step approach, you can also, it very much depends on the formulator's brief. Sometimes flavor pairing is all that's needed. Other times we see with customers, they're quite happy with their base, that they might even want to enhance certain aspects. So really it's about customizing the approach. No proteins are the same, no base is the same. And Synergy, we work with you in order to identify the best solution for your product.
So just a reminder that the infographic that contains all the detailed results of our consumer study is available for download at our plant-based hub at synergytaste.com/plant-based, as well as the market report that's called From Niche to Mainstream, and our consumer interest in plant-based products report as well. Please reach out to us if you have any questions or would like to know more about the topic or our solutions to non-dairy. And I'd like to thank Lindsay, Erin, and Lorraine for joining me today. And thank you for listening to another episode of the Synergy Flavors Trendcast. See you next time.